Introducing our 2022 beautiful Raw Beauty Ambassadors.
Hello, my name is Denene Council. I am a survivor of domestic violence. My story started in the year of I'm gonna say 96, because that was my first time of being in a domestic violence relationship with my first daughter, dad, and I made it out. I'm not gonna go all into that situation, but my second domestic violence relationship left me unrecognizable. I'm not going to say that the man was abusive, he was disrespectful to me. He was a good man, he was a provider for me and my children, and he lost his job. In him losing his job, he began to get high, he began to drink. After he lost his job, he became a different person. He would get high, he started drinking. He still wasn't abusive, he still wasn't disrespectful, he was still the loving person that he started off being. One day I was at church, and when I came home, he had done already moved out. He left me with children. And I talked to my mom and was telling my mother that Tim had left us, and it was just us there at the house. And Mom, being my mother, she had told me to change all the locks on the door. And she came over, and that's what we did, probably like that weekend on a Saturday. We changed the locks on the door, and I was still going to work on the weekends. That Sunday, I seen him in church. He had on all black, and he was just sitting there like looking at us, but he didn't speak to us this particular Sunday in church. That Monday, when I came in from work, it was just me and my children. And when I came in, everything just looked different in my living room. I walked over and I was checking the balcony door. I was checking it. Things was offset to me. So we stayed in the living room, me and my children. And at that time, my son was 9. My daughter had to be like 2 or 3 years old. I think 2. Nonetheless, I called 911 because I thought someone broke in. But then I was like, well, maybe didn't nobody break in. And I hung the phone up. And in me hanging the phone up, we heard a noise in the closet. So I screamed out that I was getting ready to call the police. As I'm calling the 911 again this time, he was screaming that it was him. It's me, Nene, it's me. And I was like, well, how did you get in here? And he was like, you left the door unlocked. I'm like, I left the door unlocked. I would never leave my door unlocked, because that's just not me. And in that happening, I had called the police, but because he jumped out the closet saying it was him, I hung the phone up again for the second time. But the police never came or called back. And what happened was, I said to him that I needed to call my mom, because if I didn't call my mother, my mom would probably send the police, or they would come over here. So let me call my mother. And that was a lie. And I tell anybody to this day, it had to have been a God thing for me, because at that moment, my mind went to another whole person, because my son, he let my son call my mom. And as my son was talking to my mother, he had my son like sitting like, this is him and this is my son. And he's looking at my son talking to my mom. So I'm just standing there looking. So when my son said, Mom, talk to me, I got on the phone and I went to like walk with the phone. And he was like, no, trying to get my attention to come back. And I'm sitting on the bed talking to my mother, and he's sitting there watching me, but I didn't really know how to conversate with my mom other than to keep telling my mom that I was tired. So my mom was like, is somebody there with you? And I was like, yeah, Mom, I'm just getting ready to feed the children, and I'm gonna get them ready for bed. And so she was like, why are you talking so stupid? And I was like, Mom, because I'm tired. She said, are you scared? So as she's questioning me, I'm just responding like, yeah, Mom, I'm tired. I just want to fix me something to eat. What are you doing? She said, do you need me to come over there? I said, Mom, what do you really think I'm going to do? And so, the conversation continued for a few minutes. And as he's telling me to hurry up, my mom said, well, I'm going to go and get Aunt Lily, and we coming over there. So when I hung up the phone, I got the kids and put them in the bedroom, in my room, and put both of them in the room. And I said to my son, whatever noise you hear, whatever goes on the other side of that door, don't you get out the room, don't open the door, you and you stay in here. And I kissed both of my kids. I remember just kissing them, saying I love them, and he was hugging me, saying don't leave out. And I was like, oh, I'm good. But as I walked out of the room and locked the door behind me, he was in the living room, but the front door was wide open. And as I'm walking towards the living room and I looked, the balcony door was pushed open with the blind slid to the side. And so as I'm walking in the living room, I was saying to him, what you doing with all the doors open? You showing off to here tonight? And before I could really say anything, all I knew was he said, I thought you loved me. And just started beating me in my head. He never hit me in my face. He beat me in my head, just beat me. And from the blows, all I can remember was I was going backwards towards the balcony door. And I remember I just lost my balance and I fell in between the door of the balcony and my couch. And I remember I looked up and I see his feet coming from my head. And all I remember, I just balled my body up like this. And I said, shoot me, Jesus. And all I heard was all the bones and my arm smashed. And I was unconscious. But I can hear my son screaming, he killed my mother. He killed my mother. He killed my mother. He was just screaming through the hallways and everything. But again, I was out, but I can still yet hear my son. And the craziness is, out of all the times that I had called the police, they were coming in, but he went through the balcony. I didn't know which way he went, but he went through the balcony. And all of this going on, when they got me up off the floor, I remember screaming because my arm was broke. And as you know, they trying to move you around. My arm, I'm just screaming, my arm, something wrong with my arm. And my mom was like, you may have brain damage because I had a knot on my head, it set off my head. I never known that your skin can stretch so far out. I had not black eyes, they were purple and greenish. Both of my eyes were closed. It looked like he had beat me in my face, but he didn't. He beat me so bad in my head that to this day, on this side of my face, my left side, I have a broken fragment in this eye. So when I cough or catch a cold, this side of my face swells on the eye. When I came home from the hospital, it was so crazy. In the hospital, they had me bandaged down, my arms. It wasn't the handcuff, but it's some type of little things that they use to keep you restrained in the hospital. And I had to use the bathroom, but I couldn't go to the bathroom. I had to use the bathroom from the pain because they didn't want me to see how I looked. But the long story short, my daughter and my son, when I got home, they heard me, so they all come running. But when they see me, they wouldn't come to me. So I went through that for a few months until I had actually healed, because my kids were scared of me because my face was unrecognizable. My eyes were closed. They were in pain. I just was in a terrible way for a long time. But he had threatened my mom and my stepfather that he was going to kill him. And I ended up not being with him because I wanted to be with him. I was with him until I knew we had to go to court and to make sure my mom was okay. So he would tell my mother that, hey, your daughter and I still messing with each other. But I didn't know this until we got to court. And my mom was saying to me, I don't even know why I'm here because you're still messing with him. And in my mind, I was like, where did you get that from? And so she said, yeah, he called me. He would let me hear y'all phone calls. I said, yeah, but did he tell you that he was trying to kill you one day? He would be sitting across our alley in this vacant building, looking at my mom and my father in the morning around about 5:30. And I said, and that's why I did all of that. So in the courtroom, I never had the chance to really even testify because once the picture came out from the detectives and the police, and he seen the picture, he just jumped up and said he did it, and he was sorry, and he served his time. Well, he's serving time. If I had to keep my Jesus hat on, I would just have to leave it up to God. It's His will, it's His way. For whatever reason that I went through it, I'm out of it. And it took a long time because I was ashamed of what happened to me. And it took me a long time to find me. I went from people's houses in my family. People didn't understand why I let that happen, why this and why that. And at that time of my life, I couldn't even explain it. Why? And I've been in church all my life. So, you know how people tell you can't ask God why? But I needed to know why. Been in a safe house. And my thing about the safe house is to each his own. Because sometimes the safe house ain't even safe. But in God's time, that's when I'm learning how to forgive people and let God do what God do. It makes me mad sometimes because I'm human. And that be the human side of me talking. That I want something done, but I know that's not good. I'm just always reminded, don't try to set up something for somebody else bad to happen. Because it can happen to me. What I don't do is say leave them. Like that is the one thing I don't say. Just girl, you need to leave them. No, that's not my tactic. Because in time, you're gonna leave. You get tired of a situation. And if you don't get tired, then you humble yourself. Because sometimes it takes us humbling ourselves and seeking God. And He does the dividing. So that's my technique is I just talk and say, if you want to stay here or do you think you need to stay somewhere else for a time being? I just encourage them to keep their head lifted up, keep smiling. And if you feel like that this is just something you ready to walk away from, because sometimes we say it, but we really don't mean it. So, but if you actually feel like you don't want to be somewhere, then yeah, we can go to different avenues, but I'm not the person to tell you actually, oh, you need to leave him, and oh, if I was you, I'm not that person. Every year around this time, I have a workshop, a domestic violence workshop. It takes a lot for me to get it started. And that's only because I want to make sure the people that I use on my panels, my speakers, are people that God has led me to see if this is their assignment. Even though I hear from God and I say, hey, I need you to also seek and make sure this is your assignment as well. So giving the workshop is like, I'm excited. Rah, 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 that's my baby. And
what's the name of your workshop?
Sisters. My mom named his sister. We call my mother sister.
Okay.
Because she was the oldest, so they called her sister. So I just keep with sister.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Wow, this Raw Beauty experience for me was uplifting because I came in here and didn't want to be here. Even after I did all the stuff needed to be done, we had death in the family, and I didn't want to be here. But my daughter got up this morning with me and said, "Come on, you gotta go, Mom." I was like, "I'm just not." And she was like, "You know, you gotta go. You gotta do this, Mom. Do this. This will get your mind off of it." So yeah, coming in, I was feeling real bad. But as I began to listen to everyone and interacting, I began to feel empowered, like I can really do this. And then I had someone to pray for me. Hey, this is Denene once again. And I just want you to know that I am Raw Beauty proud. Thank you.